Each week, Matt and I, and now Dad, have been talking about the jazz albums that shook the world. This week is one of those albums I think that shook us all pretty well. The main thing that happened to us in this journey is that we went from saying we don't care for vocal jazz to making a statement very plainly that we're very partial to what vocal jazz we listen to. This week's album is going to be one of those that turn the page for us on what we expect from vocal jazz. With that being said, cue the music. How's everybody's week been?
Oh, it's been a great week for me. Yeah, we actually had a great week. Had the kids over last night. Of course, it's Stanley Cup playoffs, so I've been watching a lot of hockey on TV. We had the kids over for dinner last night. Brady stayed for dinner, so got to hang out with them for the afternoon yesterday. So, and of course, jazz in my ear to shake that dust off for the rest of the week. Wasn't bad at all. I had a great week. You know, you had texted me, or you called me earlier this week and asked me what to listen to. I made a recommendation, and then you made a recommendation back. Wow, those were killer. Those are just like the old days. It
was like the old days, wasn't it?
Just like the old days. Yep. But we had each other. We had each other's back.
So who's Stanley?
The cup.
I'm just a kidder.
Yep, his cup is going to get hoisted in about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Will the Comets get a chance to play the Walleye?
If they can pull out a win tomorrow's game 7 for the Comets. Kendra and I are going to go to that game, and we're going to cheer as loud as we can to cheer them on. I think they can do it. Game 7 at home. I mean, yeah, I think they can do it.
Good.
But it's taken out of my jazz time. That's the problem. So I won't get to listen to jazz tomorrow night, but I'll be cheering loud.
But everything you do it to jazz. Think jazz in your mind.
That's right.
Hockey, what are they doing to improvise on the ice?
That's right.
What song are they singing with their skates?
Yep. Cool.
Dad, how's your week been?
Yeah,
My week has been really stressful, difficult, and though it didn't take me completely away from listening to our artists for the week, we have moved our bed and other furniture out of our bedroom. We pulled carpet up. We pulled the foam padding up, and yesterday I worked for but 2 hours trying to pull the staples. Today, for over an hour and a half, pulling more staples, and it's exhausting. We're sleeping in the spare bedroom, surrounded by furniture that comes out of the bedroom. I can look across the office here, and our bed is stacked up against the bookcase, and oh boy, yeah. I had to mow grass. Had to mow the grass in the backyard, the side yard. I'm exhausted. I don't know if I'm going to make it tonight because I got nobody to help me with all this tough work. And your mama is suffering so badly.
If
she's suffering because you're whining so loud.
Right.
Yeah.
How's your week in music been?
Oh man, it was good because I listened to a whole lot of Ella. In fact, I found Ella and a mix of like 48 different tracks. I think I listened to every one of them.
Nice.
And she is really a class. She is so good and so much fun to listen to.
Yeah.
As well as Ella in Berlin. I mean, the album we're covering this week. Wow, I'm excited. Yeah.
So take this time. What is this week's album that we're going to be discussing today?
Here we go. It's Ella Fitzgerald, and it's Ella in Berlin, Mac the Knife. And it's exciting. There's so many good tracks on this album, especially Mac the Knife. I really like that. I I really, really like that.
I'm
So-
guessing that you really like that.
So let me pose a question before we get started or too deep into the woods. But why? Why is the lady a tramp? I don't understand the lyrics to that song at all.
Okay. The lady is a tramp.
That's why the lady is a tramp, because they went out for dinner and she ordered a steak, or they went to the show and she didn't stay awake. Why is she a tramp?
She's not like the upper crust. She's not like she's a hoi polloi. She's just one of us. And so those on the upper echelon of culture would say she ain't nothing. They'd hardly give her an audience, but they do, and they did. And she broke through all those barriers. And so there are those who would say, yeah, the lady's just nothing but a skank.
Okay.
I mean, I think, does she use that word? It's not skank, but
No,
skag, a skag.
skag.
Yeah. So,
I mean, Sinatra sang it, Sammy Davis Jr. sang it, Ella sang it, but I just have never understood the lyrics to the song.
that's
So-
my opinion. That's my opinion. But
Sounds pretty good as an unconnoisseur to me.
Right?
I'll believe you.
I'll buy
Well,
that for $1.
and Disney had the animation,
Yeah, Lady.
Lady the Tramp.
No, Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, I don't remember it all.
It was a dog movie.
Yeah, I don't remember watching it. I'm sure I did. When you were just a toddler, probably.
Probably. Well, I will say the Penguin Guide to Jazz calls Ella the greatest jazz singer of them all. She was not a vibrato singer. The words, in a sense, scarcely mattered to her, as you will maybe find out in the clips tonight. Instead, she sang note perfect improvisations with a sense of time almost unequaled by any comparable instrument. Her timing, her diction, her intonation is perfect.
She had perfect pitch,
Yep.
like Whitney Houston had perfect pitch. So she's got a voice. Oh, wow.
So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and go into clips?
All right.
Good
But,
idea.
but I get to pick first because I've only picked one and I don't have a backup.
Then you better pick a doozy.
All right, I'm picking a doozy. Song number 4, Misty. Start that right at 10 seconds and just play through the first chorus, maybe up until about 45 seconds, and then I'll just talk why I picked it.
All right.
Thank you. Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. And I feel like I'm clinging to a cloud. I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. Walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play. Or it might be the sound of your hello. That music I hear, I get misty whenever you're near. Don't you know that you're leading me on?
You'll have to go listen to the rest of it.
Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off early, but
Oh, I would have played the whole song.
so for me, the reason I picked that track is because when I was in the military in the jazz band, we played Misty. So the tune is very familiar to me, but of course we didn't have a singer. We did not have Ella standing in front of us singing. So it was all instrumental, but the melody, the tune itself, I love the tune. This week, unlike some other past weeks when we talk about vocalists, I did not try to imagine what instrument she would be.
You already knew it?
No, I didn't have to. I didn't have to wish I was listening to an instrument because we're listening to the best of the best. So that's why I picked it. It hit me because I knew the tune. I've heard the tune. I know the tune, and she does it impeccably.
Could you play the tune today?
No,
Could you try to play the tune today?
I sure could. Yep.
I think you should.
Not right now.
No, not right now, but later you could try.
Just go to the real book. There's a great one in there. I was playing that this week, playing through it. It just took me there. We don't do that on Sunday night, but I was thinking, man, what a tune. I ought to learn how to play it. You too could learn how to play it, Matt.
Yeah.
You guys could do some kind of a duet.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, that would be
Out of respect to Ella Fitzgerald, I don't think that I will. So what about
All right.
you? What about you, Daddy O? What?
Well-
by the way, thank you for the listener's comment. We had referred to our dad here on the screen as Daddy O the other day, not to be confused with Daddy O'Daly, who we had been talking about on that episode. So thanks for the comment on there. Here's a clarification. He's the old man in the upper right-hand corner right now. We're
That's
just going
me.
to call him Dad, but we were calling him Daddy O on account of fact of. So your song choice.
You've called me Ryan too, so
We've called you Ron Carter too.
Yeah, but we told you that's a compliment.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. So I chose Mac the Knife, and
All right.
and I can tell you why later. But if you start it like at 140, and you can play through the end of it, or you can stop after a minute. So 140 to like 240, or maybe even before. Mac the Knife.
140
140.
to 240-ish.
Someone sneaking round the corner. Tell me, could it be Mac the Knife? Oh, what's the next chorus to this song now? This is the one now. I don't know, but it was the swinging tune, and it's a hit tune. So we tried to do Mac the Knife. Ah, Louis Miller. Oh, something about cash. Yes, Miller. He was spinning that trash. And Mac Heath, dear, he spins like a sailor. Tell me, could
I'm going to
that
keep it rolling through 3:15.
something rash?
So we're at just a few moments away.
And Louis Armstrong, they made a record. Oh, but they did. And now Ella and her fellas,
Here we go.
we're making a wreck. What a wreck of Mac the Knife. Oh, Snooky Dodgy. Just a jackknife as my keys there, and it's
I wanted that to run long. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Dad. I'll tell you after you.
Thank you. It took me back to when I was a kid, and Bobby Darin sang this in 1959 on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Sidewalk, ooh, Sunday morning, lies up by day, just oozing life. Get someone's sneaking.
And it became again popular, and Bobby Darin could sing it like a prince. and the description of Mac the Knife and the lyrics, it's just fantastic. And for her to lose the lyrics in a live performance and be able to not get ruffled, not get stymied, not get to a place where she loses all and just stops, but she flows with it. She forgets the lyrics, but yet it comes out just so beautifully, perfectly, almost perfectly, except she forgot the lyrics, of course.
Well, and like I said, from the Penguin Guide, the words, in a sense, scarcely mattered to her. She didn't really care about the lyrics. She could have sang anything. Well, and plus they're in Berlin, so they didn't know what she was saying anyway. She could have sang Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, and they wouldn't have known what she was singing. So, but yeah, I made that in my notes last year. She's great control on vocals. When she forgets the words, I think that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
At 3:15, she does her Pops impersonation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, every time I've listened to it, I just start chuckling because here she is first forgetting the lyrics and making it up as she goes. It didn't matter to her if they were lyrics or not. She found the words that fit in the part, and then she brings up the Louis Armstrong did this, and so did Bobby Darin.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then she does her Louis impersonation, which you can hear the crowd start to laugh again. Her engagement in that was just so spot on with the audience, and that was one of the things that I was looking at on Wiki. She was noted for her purity of tone, impeccable dictation, phrasing, timing, intonation, absolute pitch, and a horn-like improvisational ability, particular in her scat singing. Matt, the reason I ask you if you had envisioned her, Lily and I were listening to this on the way to school this morning, and she's not a trumpet. She's not a trombone either. She's a flugelhorn. I started to hear and resonate with her singing tone, and the lyrics, of course, the lyrics were just, they'll carry you away anyways, but I started to feel that like she was playing a flugelhorn.
Mm-hmm.
And it really did take me away. And then when you listen to the scat, oh yeah, spot on.
Yeah. Well, and there's a sentence in the magazine, in the article in the magazine, and of course we're using the Jazzwise magazine top 100 albums that shook the world from Jazzwise, the year 2022. But I highlighted this sentence last year. Where did humor in jazz go? Where did it go? She's bringing it back. She's laughing. She's having a good time. She's laughing at herself. So it's humorous. She's just having fun. She's doing what she does and just having fun. She forgets the words. She makes some stuff up and just moves on. She improvises.
Absolutely. All the way around it. She revitalized all of these songs and boosted the popularity, which is what Norman Granz wanted, is to target the straight jazz listener directly with growing middle-of-the-road audience. And so she brings in these different directions of listeners into one set of live albums. I wanted to get to my song right quick.
Yes.
And I wanted to hear, there's a section here in How High the Moon. And 450 is where I'm going to start it. And then there's a scat. And that's what I wanted to check into. So here we go. How High the Moon, starting at about 450.
These people wonder what I'm singing. Believe it or not, it's in How High the Moon. Ever see a dream walking? Well, I did. Tisket a tasket, I lost my yellow basket. Having a heat wave, tropical heat wave. I guess I better quit while I'm ahead with high, 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 high,
All right. sorry. I can't hold myself together listening to her doing that because I'm thinking about she's in her mid-20s. She's touring in Europe. And all of a sudden, you're making those sounds from stage. It's not even a clear scat. It's a ruffled, well, it's
Growl.
Louis Armstrong. It's a growl.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I watched a rendition of that, and it was she was 21 when she sang that, and it was like she was on a bus with a group of other musicians, and she was singing that, walking up and down the aisle of the bus at 21.
At 21.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, and okay, it's great highlighting her, but remember, you got the Paul Smith Quartet behind her, and so they probably didn't practice that transition into the scat, and so you got the drummer just laying a beat down, and Ella just takes over. And he's just there like, okay, well, and I'm picturing Lady D, of course, just doing what she does, just laying it down for the improviser just to go ahead and go and do their thing. So
and of course with the band sitting behind you that has and is your go-to band, they recognize she's going off script here. Let's just keep rolling with it. Don't stop, just keep rolling. She knows where she's at. She'll listen to us to pick it up. If she truly gets lost, we're all going to have a heyday and laugh about it, but we can't get lost.
right.
Let's just keep laying it down. And imagine being up there going, oh, crap, where's she going with this?
Here we go. We got to
Does she
roll
remember
her
the
back
next
in.
Yeah, I think this is the verse that I forgot. Let's reel her back in.
Oh man.
It is a reminder, so much fun, so much energy, and her voice is just captivating. So,
Well,
imagine the confidence as well.
yeah.
So,
I think our scores are going to reflect how much fun the music actually is.
Yeah.
We're not ready to get to the scores just yet, but I was telling Kendra at dinner tonight, for unconnoisseurs who are very particular about their vocal jazz, this one stood well above some of the other ones we've heard.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
So let's get into the slideshow. Let's get some information on.
all right, let's do it.
I know that we're changing things up a little bit on the slideshow, so y'all buckle up, put your 5-point safety harness on your car. Let's go for a ride.
Here we go. Just like I say every week, whatever you do, do it to jazz. You can hear by our weekend music. That's pretty much what we do. I'm going to go ahead and include the cover art on this first slide this week. So let's just talk briefly about the cover art. I love the cover art. It's a great picture of her. I love the color of the wording. Ella in Berlin is a different color. I just love it.
Well, and I like her big smile. It covers her whole face.
Uh-huh.
It lights up what this album's going to do.
If you covered the bottom half of her face, just her eyes would tell you that she's smiling.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. She's
yeah.
full of joy,
Yes.
happiness, and
We're going to get right into jazz lingo for the day. So the term that I picked this week, noodling, and that is just to play some notes that have no particular meaning to a tune or a solo. If you're a vocal jazz, you could call it scat, but this is I just picked noodling this week. So as our lingo for the day, noodling. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. Where you can get it. You can get it at all these locations. I did check Discogs again just to make sure the CD was available. And then at the bottom of that slide, I did leave a quote on there. So just a brief quote from Ella. I sing like I feel. And for this album, she was in a great mood because if she was feeling good, she was singing good.
Yep.
Ella was born in 1917. In 1942, she started her solo career after leaving the Chick Webb Orchestra. Now, I didn't particularly listen to any Chick Webb and Ella this week or last year, so maybe I need to get into some the Chick Webb Orchestra.
If I can,
Yeah.
I listened to Chick Webb's orchestra on the song "Stompin' in the Savoy."
Oh, Stomping at the Savoy. Yeah. I bet I've heard it then.
Yeah, it's really a good piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Drew? Any chick
I
web
didn't
for
get
you?
any chick web this week. No.
Okay. All right. Well, that may be one of the things we kick ourselves for later, because what we don't know, we still don't know. In 1954, she toured Australia, and then she joined Decca Records. Now, this week's album is on the Verve label, but she joined Decca label in 1954. In 1960 is when this album was recorded. And then in 1996, we lost Ella Fitzgerald.
As we get ready to move on, I do want to indicate something about the Chick Webb Orchestra. Chick had actually passed away in 1939, and she continued that orchestra and renamed it the Ella Fitzgerald Orchestra. Let's see, how did she say it? Renamed it Ella Fitzgerald and her famous orchestra, taking leadership of that band. So your timeline's still correct. It still shows that it's Chick Webb's because it was his orchestra, but she became the leader and they renamed it the Ella Fitzgerald. So
Nuggets.
I just wanted
And
to...
he was just barely, 35 or something?
Young man.
Yeah, very young.
Spinal tuberculosis took his life.
Nuggets.
Man.
Those are golden nuggets right there. I didn't even look that up this week. So thank you.
Got it.
Thank you.
Moving
For
right
that.
along.
Moving right along, Ella. Some of her influences, of course, she sang a lot with Louis Armstrong, Pops. Bing Crosby was listed as one of her influences, and the Boswell sisters, specifically Connie Boswell. Her mom brought home a Boswell sisters album, and she listened to it, and she wanted to sing just like Connie Boswell. So those are the influences that I found. Drew, did you?
I saw those same ones.
Okay.
May I say that I listened to Connie Boswell, a couple of them actually,
Did you?
but Nobody's Sweetheart by Connie Boswell. And she has a very sweet, softish, melodious voice that I can understand why anybody would want to sing like her. But yeah, she sang a couple other things. And actually, she was on the Ed Sullivan Show as well.
Okay.
And I think at one point she sang with Woody Herman.
So she was big in the 20s and 30s and 40s.
She was big.
Okay.
I saw her name listed up when I was looking into her a little bit, right along June Christie, which you and I know from City of Glass. I think it was her voice used in a lot of that, but June had one of those beautiful, sweet bird voices, pretty like a little bird voice. So
Yeah.
it's Ella Fitzgerald won her first competition trying to do what Connie Boswell does or did. So she tried to replicate her voice and ended up winning that competition for that as what, a 16-year-old, 14-year-old, something like that. So
Yep.
definitely an influence. That stood out to me. I thought, well, I bet Matt's already got this, but
But you never know, because I don't give you the slideshow until the very last minute.
yeah.
So I counted 52 studio albums and 39 live albums. Those are the ones that I saw. I didn't see any posthumous. I'm sure there's got to be posthumous albums. I just didn't see any listed in her discography. The genre that I listed for her, jazz. She's, of course, swing. Mac the Knife, man, that clip was just swinging back and forth. Just about knocked me off my chair. It was swinging so hard. Bebop, blues, soul. It didn't like the way I spelled doo-wop, so it's underlined. And then post-bop. So she had a wide genre under the giant umbrella of jazz. She could pretty much just do anything.
She basically learned to flow with the times, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Her entire life was about improvisation. From a wee little thing up to her last days. She rolled with everything very well.
Yeah.
She knew what she wanted to do. She knew she was going to do it. She didn't know what it was going to look like, but she did it anyways.
Yeah.
And the world loved her for it.
A few facts about Ella, as Drew mentioned earlier, that she had a couple of nicknames: the Queen of Jazz and Lady Ella. She's known for her impeccable diction, phrasing, timing, intonation, and absolute pitch. So, and you can hear it just in the clips that we played. There's no sliding into notes. There's no is this the right note, or do I need am I sharp or am I flat? She is impeccable.
She knew when to hit the note and what note to hit when she hit it.
Correct. She did have 13 Grammy wins, and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award was awarded to her in 1967. Her career spanned 5 decades. Well, they listed it as 4 decades, but if you count the early teens years when she was performing in the talent shows, I kind of consider that her career, because that's kind of what led her into singing anyway. So I put 5 decades, 50-year career for Ella. A few facts about Ella in Berlin. This album is in the Grammy Hall of Fame. It was awarded the Grammy Hall of Fame award in 1999. This is one of the most critically acclaimed live albums that she's ever done. So the critics just absolutely went nuts. We are, of course, unconnoisseurs. We don't know anything we're talking about as far as this goes, but we love doing it anyways. And yeah, our scores coming up here in just a few minutes are going to show what we thought about it. I think it's funny that she forgets the lyrics. We've obviously already talked about that, but it just made me chuckle, and she had fun with it. Ratings from the critics were mostly high about the album. There was some of them were on the fence, but anyways, yep. 6 Degrees this week was pretty easy because Ella and Miles did a track together on Ella's album Back on the Block from 1989. So,
and I wanted to ask you a question about that. You list it as Ella's album. Did you get a chance to listen to that song?
I did. I listened to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I was digging in through the Miles collab, it actually shows it on Back on the Block from Quincy Jones. And that was a very R&B hip hop album.
Yep.
So
I took it as Quincy was the producer. It was Ella's album that Miles was playing on. That's how I read it, or how I took it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe our listeners can tell us.
Ooh. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Whose album was it on?
Yep.
Okay,
cool. Moving on to the next slide. Let's do Today in Jazz History. This episode will drop on May the 7th. Sarah Vaughan records If You Could See Me Now in 1946, today, May 7th. Ornette Coleman records Love Call with Dewey Redman in 1968. Now, we have not gotten to Ornette yet. I do understand that he's a free jazz artist, and we'll see how we score him when we get there, if we get there. One final quote from Ella Fitzgerald. Just don't give up trying to do what you really want to do. Where there is love and inspiration, I don't think you can go wrong.
That's a good quote. Really good.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me like it came easy to her. I know she had to work. I know she was hardworking. I know that it wasn't handed to her. She had to work for everything. I'm sure of it. She just made it sound easy. So just don't give up. Just keep working at it. Keep plugging away.
I think also, if you consider the time of this and the segregation, and she kept prodding and plotting and going and did not stop, didn't let anything discourage her or dissuade her from pursuing this dream, if you call it, this pursuit of musical excellence. She continued to work through that. Yeah. I give her immense kudos for that.
Yeah, me too. All right, let's move on to the What's New slide, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Ella Fitzgerald. So this week in What's New, I picked an album from one of the most recent Downbeat magazines that I've got, and I picked the album Vijay Iyer and Wadada Leo Smith. Now, Vijay is a piano player, and Wadada is a trumpet player. Wadada Leo Smith, I should say. This album comes pretty highly critically acclaimed from Downbeat. They gave it 4 out of 4 stars from the ECM label. Is released in March 21st of this year, so this is a fairly brand new release, but this is their second album together. VJ calls this a meditation on human condition and suffering. The meditation on human condition and suffering. So when I listen to it, my notes here at the bottom are the tunes are dark, thought-provoking, and inspiring. Now, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. It's a dark kind of album. It's nice to listen to. I'm not sure I'm going to run back to it unless I need to get to the dark side of the moon.
What do you make of the album cover?
It's a good question. But it's probably notation from one of the songs that they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't see it. I definitely know that that's a piano. It looks like maybe there's a trumpet line. I see a T and then the PI
and then the
piano.
Yep.
So probably some notation about that music.
It's a very interesting album cover, in my opinion.
It's kind of out of the norm for an ECM cover, but kind of.
Yeah.
If I didn't know that it was ECM, you could almost guess it was ECM.
You really
Almost.
could. Almost.
Yeah. The more artists that we look at from ECM, and the way their albums are designed, their covers are designed, you can really start to see Blue Note. You can really start to see ECM. You can really start to see, the Columbia albums, how they are all designed. Drew, you and I talked about David Stone Martin.
Yes.
And how he designed for some of the albums as well.
Yes.
So,
yeah, that was like Horace Silver, Blowing the Blues Away, and a couple others. That was West Coast Jazz as well. Stan Getz.
Stan Getz. Yep. So, yeah, the more that you kind of study them and look at them, the more you can kind of almost tell which label they're from. So, again, I like the ECM label because my favorite artist is from the ECM label, and so didn't mind it one bit.
No, I bet not.
Okay. No, thank you for letting me do the slideshow.
Oh, it's good.
All right, let's talk album.
Okay, here we go. So, all right, I made notes on just about every single song. Gone with the Wind, I said it's funny because her voice she almost sounds like she's 12. When she talks, when she speaks to the audience, when she giggles and she laughs, you could not tell that she's 20, 21, 22, however old she is when she records this, because she sounds like she's almost 12 or 13 years old. She sounds very young. Misty, the clip that I picked, great control of vocals, no sliding into notes, no pitch problems at all. Lady is a Tramp, again, I don't understand the lyrics. I just don't get it. Mac the Knife, great control on vocals. She forgets the word, and I think that's funny. So I made decent notes of us listening to it. I didn't really make any other notes as far as what the week was for me or for you, for that matter. So I think I based my score just based on how much I liked the album this week, instead of letting life influence some of my choices. So
what was the track? I Laura Lee or Laura Lee.
Yes.
Is that one of the tracks?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you make notation about that?
That was the only one that I did not make
Okay.
notation about.
Just curious.
Yeah. Drew, did you make any notes about Lorelei?
I did not. It was one that I'd actually had a section that I would have listened to as well. Every one of them had something that I would have listened to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The reason I asked that, back in history, when I was living in the east side of Napoleon, and I had a lawnmower, and I went over, and every week I mowed a lady's yard. Her name was Laura Lee. And I remember very distinctly, she was a sweet, sweet lady. And if I can tell you that on Halloween, she handed out popcorn balls. So every afternoon, every evening, your aunts and uncles, we all went to Laura Lee's house, and we got 5 or 6. The whole week we had popcorn balls from her.
Popcorn balls. Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
just history.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm not sure you can hand out popcorn balls anymore.
No.
No. Not sure you can hand out much of anything that isn't wrapped and
Yeah.
and wax protected by something.
Yeah.
Mac the Knife. Y'all know where that came from.
Well, you tell us, because I have an idea as well.
All right.
Go for it.
Well, I'll let you if you think you know. I was curious, so I wanted to go back and verify.
Like 1920, and it was a 3-penny opera, and it was wild and crazy. I even heard some like a Welshman try to sing it and sing in an old Welsh or Irish or some kind of language that I couldn't even read the lyrics. But that's one of the first times, if not the first time, when it was performed in public. So it's an old song.
Based on a fictional character, Captain McHeath, who was known to wield a knife. He was at the Beggar's Opera is where it was, but a notorious criminal from the 3-penny opera. So it's a story about a knife wielding bad guy from an opera house, a 3-penny. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys really did your research this week. I'm lagging behind here, pulling my book bag behind me.
Well, don't you ever wonder why they would sing about Mac the Knife? Who sings about a knife today?
Yeah.
But Mac the Knife, based on a 3-penny opera.
I will say that this album did not make the list in 99 or 06, but in 99, Ella made the list at number 45 with the Cole Porter Songbooks Volume 1 and 2. And then on the 06 list, she made the list at number 36 with the same album, Cole Porter Songbooks Volume 1 and 2. So in my mind, I should have been listening to Cole Porter Volume 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
Every week when we're done recording, I begin to miss my artist that I've been listening to the last week. So this coming week, when we introduce the new artist and I start listening to them, and I need something Ella to go back to, it'll be the songbooks, the Cole Porter songbooks, to see what.
As many years as she traveled with Paul Smith on piano, if you look at his discog, anything that they did with Ella was a songbook from a previous artist. You can't go wrong with any one of those, 8 albums, 9 albums. And then you take a look at Jim Hall and Wilford Middlebrooks, Wilford didn't have much online about him except for he was exclusive with Ella. Gus was kind of the same thing. He's got a little bit of a discog, but Jim Hall, Paul Smith, both big name artists. And so if you look at their time together, any one of those albums. I did Porgy and Bess today, which was her and Pops.
Yeah.
That was more of a theatrical. It was basically like the what do we call it today? An album from a movie is the soundtrack. It was like the soundtrack, but still gorgeous all the same. And to hear Pops play, yeah.
Well, and the other thing I didn't realize is how much her and Pops played together. This week in the kitchen, I've asked my Amazon A lady to play Ella Fitzgerald, and the first 5 or 6 tracks were her and Pops together. And I've heard those songs before. I know I have because I played most of them DJing weddings for dinner music. But it took me a minute to remember how much work that her and Pops did together. So it's always great to hear Pops anyways.
Dad, your take overall?
Oh, overall, I was thoroughly enthralled by it. However, when I first listened to it, I had to hear it. I had to absorb it. I really had to listen. But the more I listened to it, the more engaging I got, the more I appreciated her style and what we've already said about her diction, her intonation, her pitch. It's one of those albums that kind of grows on you. And I can so appreciate, and I would anticipate, I want to hear this going forward. I want to listen to it more and more. It'll probably be one that if I'm like on a bike ride, I'm going to have it coming through my hearing aids, and I'm going to listen to it, and it'll give me this extra boost, so to speak.
Yeah, it's the album that's listed in the magazine is Mac the Knife, Ella in Berlin. It's got 9 songs on it and it's 35 minutes long. Now, there's another album called The Complete Ella in Berlin that's got 19 songs on it and it's 50 minutes long. Today on my walk with Midas, the dog, I listened to, she's got another one from 1961. They went back to Berlin. And did a whole nother concert in Berlin in 1961. So that was cool too.
Excellent.
So I haven't asked this question in a while, but Dad, would you recommend this artist to a very first time jazz listener?
You know, I really would. Because it gives a flavor of the history of jazz, the music of jazz, the lyrics. And it gives a very rounded picture of what jazz would sound like from history.
Okay.
And I would recommend that to somebody who's new. Mom listened to it. We listened to it this morning, pulling staples, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. So, yeah, I would.
Drew, what about you?
Well,
Recommend
Dad, you mentioned even last week with Charles Mingus, there was a section of an album that you said this is quintessential jazz. And so to hear you say that about Ella's album, it is a reminder. I would make it a core collection, and I think, yes, for a first-time listener, this is your gateway into some different genres of jazz. But more importantly, this is the true definition of swing. That whole group swings. From left to right, up to down, front to back, they are just, you almost want to dance in your chair or while you're driving, and that's what swing will do. So, yeah, it's a core album, and I think every new listener should be into it.
And vocal jazz.
Yes.
Jazz. We've listened to some really class vocalists, which, by the way, I did listen to some of my man Gregory Porter this week.
right?
But Ella, to me, she's the best of the female vocalists to me that we've listened to.
And we've covered some pretty big ones. We've had Abby Lincoln and Sarah Vaughan,
Yeah.
Cecile McLaurin Savant,
Nina Simone.
Nina Simone. Yes. I'd had those in the back of my head. I was going to just spit them all off, but
You did good.
we had Betty Carter in our ears. We had Billie Holiday recently in our ears.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're talking about some really big female vocal jazz, and of course, Gregory Porter in the male category, and we've learned a couple other names, Johnny Hartman along the way.
Yep.
But yeah,
Okay.
And Matt, what about you?
What about me?
Yeah.
Yes, I think if a first-time listener is going to ask me what to listen to for vocal jazz, this album's going to pop into my head right away. I mean, I'd have no reservation. I might steer them to Gregory Porter first, just because I tend to like Gregory a little bit more than I like Ella. But hey, you want to hear female vocal jazz? This is the album right here, Ella in Berlin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, did it shake your world? Yes, no, maybe?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Same for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Rating.
Let's go.
All right. Who's going first?
I know what Matt's is, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you. This week on this album, I gave it a 9.5.
And I did as well. 9.5 out of 10 for me.
So I was vacillating between 9.7 and 10. I gave it a 10.
You gave it a 10.
Straight up 10.
Okay.
And for all the reasons we talked about, not only the history that takes you back to the early time, to me, early times, and the each track, rhythm, style, the tone, the lyrics just blew me away. I gave it a 10
Brilliant.
without reservation.
I'm not sure why I didn't give it a 10 and why it's a half a point off from a 10. But I think again, we didn't know what we don't know. We still don't know what we don't know. But
I think a large part of that, Matt, was that we're coming out of the idea that vocal jazz was not our thing at the time. And Ella was the first to really shake our world up. And to
as
go
far
to
as
10,
as far as females
female
go,
female vocal jazz. So as far as going to a 10, I can see some hesitation going, yeah, it's still not my thing. But
okay.
I can tell you who is going to be my thing. Coming up next week.
Please, yes.
Oh, man. Next week's album is going to be a fun one. This is Duke Ellington. Ellington at Newport. This was on Columbia, came out on LP and CD, and it was recorded in 1956. That is Newport Jazz Festival, 1956. So a live album in its beginning years. And I think that was, third year that they did Newport Jazz Fest. So Duke Ellington at Newport.
Now, I will tell you that this is a double album. It's long. It's 2 hours and 8 minutes. Now, there are some concert excerpts.
Shucks. 2 hours?
2 hours.
That's
There's some announcements. They make announcements throughout. So, but yeah, it's kind of just like you're sitting at the Newport Jazz Festival listening to Duke Ellington. So
now, I've struggled, you know, that for all you listeners, you know that we've gone ahead and done these things. We've finished our journey. But it shows on here a trumpeter, Clark Terry. Which song was Clark Terry on? So I'm going to investigate this week via my ears, listening for my man Clark Terry to play.
there you go. There you go. Dad, I can't wait for you to hear this album.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear your score of the album. Again, Duke Ellington, you know, we've talked about Ellington and Strayhorn before anyway, so it's going to be a great week listening to Duke Ellington.
I'm looking forward to it, of course.
Yeah. So,
Great.
hey,
All right.
that's it.
Good.
From our jazz journey to yours, enjoy some jazz this week.
Yeah, for sure. Shake that dust off.
Yes.
Yeah. And where are you going to find us?
Well, you can find us on the web at theunconnoisseur.com. We've got a lot of great information on the website. You know, a timeline, a jazz timeline. We've got our merch store sitting up there. Our kind of episodes ratings are up there, our rating sheet. So yeah, check us out on The Unconnoisseur. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at theunconnoisseur@gmail.com. We are on all three streaming platforms as far as the Apple iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. Yep, you can listen to the podcast there, or you can come to our YouTube channel and watch our beautiful faces.
Yes.
Thanks again for joining us. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment. Hey, I'll still send you a sticker. That was not a one-time offer. I got loads of stickers to send out. So if you leave a comment and you would like a sticker, I'll send you a sticker.
All right.
Whatever you do,
do it.
Do
to
it to
jazz.
jazz. Mm-hmm.